The Albanese government, though, is agonising about whether to force gas companies to sell at low prices to Australia rather than much higher prices, sell it overseas for much higher prices there. Now, this is a very popular idea in polls. You see Australians going for that. But it could really hurt us down the track, couldn't it, by telling investors their money isn't safe here. They can risk a whole lot and try and invest in fossil fuels here, and then along comes the government in a good time and says, well, we'll take some of that profit. Thank you very much.
Well, look, Andrew, the relatively new Labor government is very much now like the dog who caught the car. They've gotten government, they've won an election, and they have no idea what to do with it. Flailing around here, totally divided as a cabinet. It's a complete embarrassment and farce here that the most important issue in our country is just devolving into a total circus among the Labor cabinet. I mean, who is in charge here? Where is Chris Bowen? Haven't heard from him for quite a while. Jim Chalmers' budget didn't last a few days. It became all about your family's budget. Yeah, it's probably good we haven't heard from Chris, but now we've got Ed Husich out there saying one thing, the Resources Minister saying another, and Anthony Albanese seems to have completely no idea. As I say, this is the most important issue facing Australia, both because increasing power bills are putting pressure on family budgets, and because it is higher power prices that will jeopardise our ability to defend our nation, keep our manufacturing industry strong, and present a credible deterrence to any conflict in our region. We have to fix this issue. Now, I'm not against, I do think we should have gas developed in Australia, used for Australians first, but we must make sure that we partner that position with long-term support for the development of gas and fossil fuels and coal in our country. And the best thing that the Albanese government could do would be to sack Chris Bowen as Energy Minister and end his ridiculous war on coal and gas. You can't say you're going to deliver cheaper coal and gas if at the same time, on the other side of your mouth, you're saying you actually want to end those industries. If that's your stance, those companies aren't going to invest in their industry. They're not going to increase their supply, and we will not get that access to those resources to Australians today.
That's the point. Long term, we will not have what we're so short already of now. Actually, Matt, I needed you to comment on something that really worried me when I read about it yesterday, a bit of background the day and today too. Few people realise that we taxpayers actually win in another way from these exports, right? Last financial year, the taxes and royalties paid by the mining companies that this government's now belting was about enough to pay for our entire defence spending. But now, very worrying trends in our two biggest exports by far. A huge fall in iron ore prices, with China warning it could use even less iron ore in the future, and also a fall in the recent high prices for coal that have helped bail us out. I hear analysts say it's cyclical, prices are going to rise again, but I'm less sure. How much trouble are we in?
Well, look, we're always exposed to these types of risks. Commodity prices and cycles are inherently unpredictable. I mean, the first thing I like to say is we should do more to thank those hard men and women who work in our resources sector. I think there's a picture of them behind that shoulder of me in the oil and gas sector. They get dirty every day. These are the people who have to shower at the end of the day. And not enough people, especially the Labor Party in this Labor government, says thanks to them, because it is them that has given at least a veneer of credibility to our budget situation at the moment. But you're right, these risks are on the horizon. The iron ore price boom was never going to last, and it's coming off very, very quickly. The price for coal and gas is not going to stay at the levels it's at. It's just too high. People will not be able to afford it. Countries will go into recessions if these energy prices stay where they are. And a recession a global recession would be the worst of all worlds for us. It would lower commodity prices, reduce our what we get from our exports, and at the same time put economic pressures on the broader Australian economy as well. It could be diabolical for our budget. Now, I don't know. I can't predict where prices will go. All I can say is that we should support these industries, make them as strong as possible, get the red tape off these sectors, because the lower our costs are, the more likely these industries will stick around when and if inevitably these high prices come off.
And I think we also need to have industrial relations laws that free businesses, because obviously the rest of the economy needs to really save us and start getting more productive. Matt Canavan, thank you so much indeed for your time.